So, white psychopaths of Kentucky, Aaron Browning and Joel Casey, you know, they do carry this forward, this tradition of being a psychopath. They don't care about me. They beat me up and they keep lying and keep on pressing on. They're trying to save their fucking asses in their case. In some respects, I understand that, but it shows the system. It shows that you can lie, you can keep information from people, and you can play the system. And on technicalities, these fucking psychopaths can get away with being a fucking psycho as long as, you know, it's just that they started being a dick, and they keep on being a dick, and they're not stopping by being a dick. They just keep being shitty and shitty and shittier and shittier, and they don't stop. And that's bullshit, you know. If they would have said, we're sorry, we made a mistake, we shouldn't have tried to run into you, you're not doing any crime whatsoever, you did nothing to anybody, you hurt or harmed it, you were just walking down the street, we're sorry, we're going to get you fixed up, get to the hospital, get you fixed up, and we hope we can go about our merry way. And we're sorry, then hopefully we'll protect and serve you in the future. This was not a good look for the police. You are a citizen, we are here to protect and serve you, you're not the enemy. But that's not the case. There's no citizen police review board. There's no civilian police review board, no complaint authority board, no fucking no checks and balances to hold the LMPD accountable. And so they do look as the general population as the enemy. And when he calls it in, he says, "Ooh, I got one of them. One of them tried to hit me. One of them people. One of them Louisville fucking people tried to hit me." Now, what is this about? So it's a website. I'm just going to go ahead and close out of this website. Sorry about that advertisement. Okay, so Rod Ferrell, the Visago, he's a vampire from Kentucky, from Murray, Kentucky. He has a lot of issues going on. He was 16 years old, goes down to Florida with a car load full of friends, 2 women, 1 guy. He goes to this woman's house, Jennifer Windorf's house, and he kills her parents. Jennifer Windorf had said that she was living in hell, and Rod Ferrell, you know, went to be the savior of Jennifer Windorf. So, Roderick Ferrell is an aberration of society. What happened to Rod Ferrell? Why is Rod Ferrell the way he is? Why does he believe he's a fucking vampire? What was the allegation that got the Murray police mad at him and to ostracize him? Why was his mother against him? I was reading the confession, which I actually found to be fucking fascinating. I'll give some details of the crime. So, November 25th, 1996, 49-year-old Richard Windorf was asleep on the couch, and Ruth was in the shower. So these are the parents of Jennifer Windorf in Florida. They drive all the way down to Florida just to kill these people. That's sort of, I guess, Rod Ferrell had a click, and that's what they're doing. Rod Ferrell and his accomplice, so 2 men, Howard Scott Anderson, and Howard Scott Anderson should be added to the list, right? So, Howard Scott Anderson, he, with Rod Ferrell, entered the home through the unlocked garage, picking up a murder weapon. Before Richard was even waking, Ferrell beat him several times with a crowbar, fracturing his skull and his ribs. So yeah, real fucking brave, right? He's fucking beating the shit out of somebody sleeping on the couch. He walked through. It was an open door. They knocked him out, killed him. Then Ruth comes out of the shower, throws coffee on him, and then he kills her too because he was pissed off that she threw coffee on him. Now, they were found by the daughter Jennifer Windorf. My bad. The parents were the Heather Windorf was Rod. So Heather Windorf is the connection to Rod Ferrell, which is the daughter of the parents, but not the one that had found them dead. He was helping to run away from home. She described the home as hell. Heather and other girls were with Ferrell and Anderson were not at the Windorf home when the murders took place. Charity and her friend Dana had driven Heather to her boyfriend's apartment so Heather could say goodbye before leaving for New Orleans, leaving Roderick and Scott outside the Windorf home. Alright, so there it is. You know, I gotta say goodbye to my boyfriend one last time before I go to New Orleans. I don't really want to go to New Orleans, possibly. I don't want to be with you. Rod Ferrell's like, fuck, went all the way down here for this woman. She don't want to be with me. What the fuck I'm going to do? All these people with me. I was excited. I've been talking her up. I gotta fucking kill her parents. She's living in hell. I gotta do it. It's possible. It's possible. He's unloved. He's suicidal. He's ostracized, being blamed by the cops and by the school system and by his mother. for being, you know, some sort of weird, creepy fucking person who likes vampire shit and thinks he's a 500-year-old vampire. And killed 2 people in cold blood. And that's possible that he did it on his own volition. But I also wonder if maybe, you know, Heather Windorf said, hey, could you do this for me? She wasn't one of the people that got thrown in jail. The 2 people that murdered were thrown in jail. All 4 people in the car that went to the Florida that they were put in prison, one for 10 years, one for 17 and a half years, and the 2 of them for life. So the 2 boys, Howard Scott Anderson and Rod Ferrell, are in prison for life. And actually the 2 people have already gotten out, Kesey and Cooper, the girls who were with them, so I guess they would have been accomplices. They were already released from prison. So I was actually reading the confession. I'm having to redo this whole fucking tape, which sucks because I did we'll never see what happened in, 15 minutes. You got to cut it off at 15:30. You cut off 15:31. They throw the whole thing out. So I probably should cut off at 15:20, okay? And then that way it gives me a 10-second buffer, but be strict with the 20 thing. Anyways, Rod Ferrell's confession, okay? This is on angelfire.com. So we're kind of, exploring reasons for why Rod Ferrell broke down. Why is he fucking crazy, a psycho? Why is he depressed? Why is everybody hating him? What crime did he commit? He says he was willing to tell and confess to the police as long as he could see Shay. And I don't know who Shay is. I'm reading the story. It's off of Wikipedia. I'm reading the story. Angelfire.com is the one with the confession. Who is Shay? I don't know who Shay is. Is Shay Heather? Heather Windorf? Is Shay Dana or, Kesey, one of the women that went with him? They were women. 2 men, 2 women. Why were the women going with him? He didn't like them. They had to feel some feelings of jealousy. Why were they doing, why were they with him? He lived in Murray, Kentucky, apartment F6. In Murray, 906 Broad Street. So he lived in 906 Broad Street, apartment F6, which is, you can go to his fucking apartment, which is probably still in existence. Hell, he probably gets fucking weird-ass knocks or people walking by all the time. It'd suck if you accidentally started renting that spot. So they warn him of all of his rights and shit, but he just really wants to tell them. They're kind of like, okay, slow down. Let me tell you everything you need to know. They even asked, can you read and write? And he's like, I've lived more knowledge than school ever thought of. I understand the reason why I did this bullshit. And he was like, hold on. We'll get to that in a second. Do you see a psychiatrist? I've been seeing a psychologist. They don't really give me any big medications. But he did say that they were taking medication. So he could have been under a prescription pill of some sort. He could have been under Zoloft or some antidepressants, or Ritalin. And so it says you talk to him, you agree to give a statement to what happened in Lake County. And he was like, yeah, okay, as long as I get to see Shay. That was his deal. So he wanted to see Shay in exchange for his confession. In exchange for a lifetime in prison, throwing all his friends in prison and shit, he was willing to throw them all under the bus for whoever the fuck Shay is, just to talk to Shay one last time, right? So it says, go ahead and start. It says, I don't remember. It was Tuesday. Last Friday from Kentucky. I was over there at Dana's house seeing Shay. So Shay's at Dana's house. Hang on a minute. Can I get a pad? Okay. I don't really care, he says. And he's like, I really don't care. I guess I'm mentally disturbed. I don't know. Rod, you should never get to that point. It's not because of trouble. It's not because I don't have any concern for my life anymore, my own especially. So it is because I don't have any concern for my life. So he didn't give a fuck about the trouble. He just don't care about his life. But I think that the trouble would have something to do with his life, Perhaps you say that. I'm not inside your head. I don't know what's going on. Let's try to fix it. Okay, we'll fix it. Cut down to the bone. All right, thanks a lot, sir. So, you got Rod Ferrell fucking spilling his guts out, telling him who's all in the car. He said him, Scott, Shay, and Dana were all in the car. So, Shay could be Kesey. Kesey could be Shay. That seems to be the logical inferration. Right. So, they were took a day to get to Florida, and they were going day and night. Can I get a light? Yes. Okay, when I got to Florida, I looked up Janine LeClaire. She's my ex-girlfriend. She wanted me to come back and pick her up. So, you know her as Heather. I went by Jean LeClaire's house. That's Zoe's best friend. You know her as Heather. So Jean LeClaire is Heather. That's weird. Who the fuck is Jeannie LeClaire? That's, I guess, her name. He gave a different name to her. Zoe's best friend, who's Zoe. And it says, it was my ex-girlfriend. She wanted me to come back and pick her up. Okay, what town is this? Estes. Okay, right after I got a hold of Zoe at school, talking to her, she was leaving with us. It was Monday, whenever I got a hold of her. Tuesday during the day, we were pulled over by a state road. Got a bit nervous, so we decided we wouldn't do anything that night. Going to stay an extra night and give us 24 hours extra. Why were you pulled over in Estes on Lake Joanna Drive? Okay, they ran our IDs and shit, couldn't find anything, so let us go. Alright, okay, so after I went to the payphone at Kmart, called Zoe up, told her we were leaving that night. For her to grab the shit she needed, like pictures or whatever, and get a hold of Heather Windor, Janine, and tell her the same, and that we would be by to pick them up at a specific time whenever it got dark, around 5:36. We went to Zoe's house, big surprise, waited for her. Before she left, Shay, Dana, and her got in. Came in the car that Scott took from his mom and drove out there to see her boyfriend, while me and Scott stayed behind. After we made sure that they were gone, we walked down the road to Heather's house. Walked up the driveway, looked around the house just to check the perimeters. We saw that they left all the doors unlocked. Went to the garage, looked for special items, found special items. A weapon? Yeah, weapons, food, cash. Went to the house. Mother was taking a shower. Father was sleeping on the couch. So I took the liberty of rummaging through the house, getting something to drink because I was thirsty. Wow, Scott was following right behind me like a little lost puppy. So, you know, these motherfuckers, these manipulative fucking piece of shit motherfuckers get these people that just adore them, admire them, and can't, you know, wait to do anything at their beck and call. And unfortunately, obedience is the biggest problem in America. The oppression, obedience to authority. That's not America. That's not freedom-loving Americans, you know. We don't love oppression and authority. We don't love doing as the fuckers we're told, like little fucking Nazi soldiers, you know. We are freedom-loving people. And obedience has caused the worst atrocities in history. Slavery, war, genocide, all came by obedience. It was by the fucking little people doing the shit that the people at top wanted to do. If the little people stopped moving, little people stopped doing the shit, the whole thing would crumble. So Scott was following behind me like a little lost puppy. Real fucking, what a dick, you know. He's fucking telling on everybody, didn't give a shit. And he said, I went to her dad, smacked the fuck out of him until he finally quit breathing. So yes, I'm admitting to murder. So it took him about 20 fucking minutes to stop, I swear. I thought he was immortal or something. So he's like, wow, okay, so he's beat the shit out of him, and he kept on fucking breathing, and then eventually he fucking stopped breathing. So he's beat, you know, he's all bloodied and shit, but he's still fucking alive, and I guess he just let him slowly die. It took him about 20 minutes to stop. A crowbar, I was going to use a machete or chainsaw, but that was just too messy, just nasty, right? He can bash the head with a crowbar, but a machete, you know, chopping the clean cut off like a fucking guillotine or a chainsaw, that's bloody, right? That's just nasty. No, it got only a little blood spot on me. So really, he said a crowbar is not that bad, surprising. But anyway, so after that, I basically picked his body up, screwed him around, and looked for his wallet and stuff, and that's when we found his discovered around. Screwed him around. I don't know what he meant by screwed him around. Like, I guess turned him around. About 2 minutes after that, I turned him, flipped him back over. The mother came out of the shower with a nice hot cup of coffee. She spilled all over me because she was asking me what did I want, because she thought I was just robbing him. She hadn't seen the husband yet. Nah, I made sure he was hidden. Okay, didn't want her to freak, so she didn't. Like I said, she's basically looked straight at me and said, what do you want? By the time you know, it was pretty obvious. I had blood on me and a crowbar in my hand. So he hid the body, but he's got the crowbar in his hand. I was fixing to say, yeah, I want to have coffee with you, son of a bitch and smartass. But anyways, that's when she lunged at me because I was actually going to let her live. But after she lunged at me, I took the bottom of the crowbar and kept stabbing her through her skull. Whenever she sat down, I just continually beat her until I saw her brains falling on the floor, because that pissed me off. That's how I got these. She scratched at, she clawed me, spilled fucking hot coffee on me, pissed me off. So she attacks him. The woman in the household attacks him with coffee and claws him, and it pissed him off. And so he stabs her with the other side. So he uses both ends of the crowbar, right? He bludgeons the blunt end. He bludgeons the head of the Heather's parents, the Windorfs, right? And or at least the father's the Windorf, and used the other one to stab the mother or the stepmother. And so So I made sure she was dead, rummaging through the house, looking for car keys, money, whatever. Thought about waiting for Zoe's sister, but decided, why bother? It's getting to be about 15 minutes. So, hey, let's talk a little bit about what we know so far. So, Rod Ferrell, Visago 50,000, or 50, he's a fucking vampire, right? Killing these people in cold blood. Not very courageous. Just fucking, when someone's sleeping, kills a fucking woman. And, he did with the crowbar. It's pretty fucking vicious, cold-blooded and shit. What created Rod Ferrell? And how can we stop Rod Ferrell from coming out of Kentucky anymore?